Hello, I'm Dave Wolber, and I'm a training officer here with the South King County Fire Training Consortium. I'm going to be giving you an introduction to LIFEPAK 15 by Physio-Control. I realize some of the stuff may be a little bit redundant, but it's important that we cover all the bases. Some of the items we're going to cover are the differences between the LIFEPAK 12 and the LIFEPAK 15, and then the specifics related just to the LIFEPAK 15, dealing with daily check, operational function and features, battery and charging systems, wireless transmitting, and also care and maintenance. Okay, now I've got each machine side by side so that we can view the similarities and the differences. Each machine functions identical to the other one as far as charging and shocking, button location, and printout and reading. However, there are some differences on the LIFEPAK 15 that I'm going to give just a brief overview of right now, and we'll go into more detail later in the video with each one of those differences. One of the differences you'll notice on the outside patch of the 3-lead cable pouch is a wireless transmitter on the LIFEPAK 15. 3-lead cables are located in the same pouch on either machine. You'll notice that a transmit code summary and print button are also located in the same location on the LIFEPAK 15 and the LIFEPAK 12. You'll notice that there's a color screen on the LIFEPAK 15 versus a single color on the LIFEPAK 12. There's a CPR button on the LIFEPAK 15 where there's no CPR button on the LIFEPAK 12. The CPR button on the LIFEPAK 15 allows us to use a metronome during CPR that we can turn on and off in either manual or A.E.D mode. You'll notice on the LIFEPAK 12 there is an advisory button, and they've done away with the advisory button on the LIFEPAK 15. All the buttons, the on, energy selection, charge, and shock button are all the same. Although we can clearly see this is a round button versus an oval button, I don't think we'll have any confusion there. You'll see that there's a pacer feature on the LIFEPAK 15 that's been disabled. This comes as an option that we can't get rid of on the LIFEPAK 15, so just disregard that. Below that, there's a button for day and night screen. It will change the screen from black to white, or you can change it back to black from white. All the other buttons you'll see are the same. The alarm, options, event, and home button are located in the same location, along with a speed dial selector button. The paper tape is still located in the same spot on either machine. However, the LIFEPAK 15 has the wide pink paper tape versus the small, narrow green and white tape. And later on during the daily check, I'll show you how to make that change as well, although most of us should know how to do that from using the Medix machine. Our shock cables are located on the same side, the LIFEPAK 15, as they are on the LIFEPAK 12. So by and large, you'll see that Physio-Control has done a great job in keeping consistency between the LIFEPAK 12 and LIFEPAK 15. Now I'm going to turn the machines around so that we can take a look at the batteries, because there's a few differences with these as well. You know, our current system with the LIFEPAK 12 has batteries that require an onboard charging system and a pigtail on the fire apparatus. Going to the LIFEPAK 15 with new battery technology and the lithium-ion batteries, we're going to have desktop charging systems at the stations, and we'll just have batteries on the LIFEPAK 15s that are not going to require an onboard charging system anymore. And each battery has a battery charge indicator on it. And we'll show you that a little bit later. Okay, now we're going to discuss the daily check. A lot of this is going to be review and redundant from the LIFEPAK 12. However, there are some differences with the LIFEPAK 15. Starting with the fact that the LIFEPAK 15 will do a self-test every day at 0300 and print out a report down here that says that the self-test passed. You'll find that every morning when you come out to do your rig check. Simply tear that off and put that with your user test on the clipboard in your sign-off sheet. The other thing we want to continue to do with LIFEPAK 15 is just do our cursory check of inventory, checking our cables, making sure that 3-lead cable is plugged in, make sure there's no damage to the cables, checking our shock cables as well, making sure there's no damage, cuts, nicks to the cable, and also being sure that it's attached. This is a little bit different from the LIFEPAK 12 in the fact that there's a push button. You just push and simply slide in and out. You should just be able to make sure that it's snug. Then we're going to turn on the machine. Go down to options like we currently do now in the LIFEPAK 12. Select options. We'll then use a speed dial. Operates exactly like the LIFEPAK 12. Select user test. Push the button, push the dial selector in, and wait for the user test to finish. Again, just like you're used to now, the user test will print out that says user test passed with the date and time on it. Simply attach that to your clipboard, your sign-off sheet, with the self-test from the LIFEPAK 15 that printed out 0300, and you're good to go. One of the things you'll notice up here on the front of the screen, you'll see the battery indicators. You'll see the battery well 1 is full, battery 2 is down to less than 25%. One of the differences we're going to talk about are the fact that these don't have onboard charging systems. They simply have just batteries attached to them with a desktop charging system in the station. So it's imperative that we check to be sure that the batteries are full each day. Another way we want to check the battery status is by turning the machine around and checking the individual batteries in the battery well. You can simply do that by depressing the button and checking the battery status. Here you can see battery 1 is full. Check battery 2, and it confirms that we're below 25% battery life, which would indicate that we need to change the battery in battery well 2. If the batteries are anything less than full, we want to swap the batteries out in the morning for the battery that's in your desktop charger back at your station. One of the other checks we'd like you to do is just do a cursory check of the Gateway Titan wireless router for any cracks or chips on the corners or things like that. We also want to be sure that the pigtail is plugged in firmly in the back of the machine. Now I'll take the opportunity to pull this out for you guys to show you what this looks like. It's just a simple wireless router that's tucked into the pouch on the side of the case here, and just, as you can see, plugs in the back. Again, be sure every morning that that pigtail is plugged in firmly and connected. That ends our daily check. Now we're going to talk about the batteries for the LIFEPAK 15 and the charging unit. I'll show you in just a little bit what the desktop charging unit looks like that will be located at all the stations. One of the things that will be a change for us is doing away with the onboard charging systems that we're so used to. A number of our neighboring agencies, including King County Medic 1, currently use the lithium-ion batteries on the LIFEPAK 15 that allow for longer charging period of time and a longer use period of time. One of the things Physio Control talks to us in the literature about is that 2 newly fully charged lithium-ion batteries for LIFEPAK 15 will give us a continuous running time, monitoring running time of 360 minutes, or allow us to deliver a 360 joule shock 420 times. So this should alleviate any angst for those of you who are out there worried about onboard charging systems and having enough battery power for the LIFEPAK itself, which also drives home the need for us to do a good rig check in the morning and ensure that those batteries are fully charged. You'll recall earlier I demonstrated to you a way to check the charge level on a battery by simply depressing the button on the back of the battery, and it will show you the charge left or the charge remaining in the battery. On the LIFEPAK itself, when it's turned on, we can also see battery indication of how charged they are or how empty they are. You'll see here battery number 2 is in use, and that's indicated by the white number surrounded with a black box. The LIFEPAK itself will automatically use the lowest charge battery and save the highest charge battery as a reserve and backup. As the charge goes down on that battery, you'll see that there's only one green bar on battery 2. It'll go to a yellow bar, which lets us know that it has 5 to 10% life remaining. Once it goes to a red bar, that's less than 5% remaining, at which time it'll automatically switch over to the full battery in battery bank 1. Now we'll take a look at the desktop charging unit that comes with the LIFEPAK 15. One of these charging units will be located at each one of the stations for the LIFEPAK 15 batteries. Here you can see that you have AC power because the green light is on. In this battery well, you can see that you have a blinking green light, which means that this battery is actually charging. And you can also check the battery status by simply pushing the button. Here you can see that there's only one bar illuminated, which means that the battery was dead when I put it in there. To charge a battery, you simply just line up the pins, depress the battery until it clicks and it's locked in. Again, you'll notice the blinking green light, which means that the battery is charging. This battery is almost full. I know that because I just took it off, but for demonstration purposes, I can show you that the battery is fully charged. The important thing to take away from this is to not use a bleach-based product when cleaning any parts of the LIFEPAK 15, cables, or the pack itself. What we can use for this, or recommended, is that we use an isopropyl alcohol-based or a peroxide-based cleaner, such as our disinfecting hand wipes, the new PDI Hygieia hand sanitizing wipes, Purell, or the Rely-On products are all acceptable to wipe down the cables, the face of the unit and such. One of the things we want to take care of is to not get any water inside any of the operating pieces, such as the end of the cables. You need to make sure these stay dry. It's best to probably just wipe these down with one of those hand wipes. When you wipe down the unit itself, if this got contaminated or dirty in any way, shape, or form, we need to make sure we don't get water inside the dial or inside any of these connectors as well. If we need to clean the unit itself, we can simply use a mild detergent, a soap and water, a 409-based product, or something such as that if you have grease, dirt, grime on the unit itself. Or again, you can refer to one of the hand wipes that have the isopropyl alcohol or the peroxide base in it. As a review, just do not use a bleach-based product for cleaning the LIFEPAK 15. Okay, now we're going to get into the operation of the LIFEPAK 15. Again, a lot of this is review because the functions and the buttons are very similar or identical to the LIFEPAK 12 that you guys are currently using. The LIFEPAK 15 will also be set up with all the same defaults as the LIFEPAK 12. We're going to start with the 3-lead operation. I'm going to turn the machine on, and just like the LIFEPAK 12, you'll notice that the LIFEPAK 15 is set to come up in paddles mode. So to change that, you just slide over to the lead button, depress the lead button, and then use the speed dialer to scroll down to the cascading EKG. Depress it once, and it will select the cascading feature, which will give you 2 lines to look at. So now that we're in the 3-lead monitoring option on LIFEPAK 15, we can increase or decrease the size by simply pressing the size button, using the speed dialer to increase the gain, and if you want to keep it there, just depress the button in the center. If you want to change it back, press the size button, go back to 1.0 is the default, by the way. Select 1.0, press the button, and it'll return to the original setting. One of the other features that the LIFEPAK 15 now has is the ability to record events, such as when you give somebody aspirin, glucose, or assist somebody with nitro. If you'd like to record that on the machine and have a printout of that, you simply go to the Events button, depress the Events button, and it'll bring up the different options that you have. If you've given somebody oxygen or aspirin, say you gave somebody aspirin, you just use the speed dialer to select aspirin, to press the center button, and it's going to timestamp that you gave aspirin, 14:59:57, and that'll be on the machine for a printout. Again, if you go to events, and if you don't want to be there, you need to get out, you can always depress the home button, and it'll take you back to the main screen. The home button will get you out of any screen that you don't want to be in if you think that you're there by accident or you just want to get out. Another option that's new to us on the LIFEPAK 15 is the day-night feature for changing the screen from black to white. And that button's located right here above the speed dialer. Just simply push it and it changes your background to white. I realize with the camera you probably can't see that black tracing very well, but I encourage you to play around with it and see what you like once the LIFEPAK gets to your station. I actually prefer the black background, so I'm going to switch it back. To print a strip, if you see something that catches your eye, you want to take a look at it a little better, just simply press the print button located in the same spot as our LIFEPAK 12s. Print whatever you think you want or you need to look at to analyze rhythm. Just simply push print again, and it will stop printing. At the end of the call, or if you'd like to recall what time you administered aspirin to a patient, if you use the event button that I already showed you earlier, simply go to the code summary, depress the code summary once, and it'll print out the information that you put in here if you gave glucose, what time you gave it, aspirin, and such. It'll also print out a rhythm strip. Okay, if you happen to be running low on paper, paper's located on the front, just simply pull up the tab, pull the door open, pull out the used plastic roll, grab a new roll of paper, stick it in with the pink boxes, the pink writing on top. Be sure that it comes out over the top of the roller, and just press the door closed. Click the tab closed, and you're ready to print. Now we'll go into the A.E.D operation. Simply turn the machine on, connect the patches like you would per the diagram. Again, as review, it comes up automatically in the paddles mode for manual mode. Come over to the Analyze button. You press the Analyze button.
Analyzing now. Stand clear. Shock advised. Stand clear. Push shock button.
Once the patient is clear, press the shock button and continue with your CPR protocol.
Start CPR.
Again, review with the A.E.D mode on, the CPR metronome and the voice prompts for ventilation automatically come on. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off for just a second. One of the things I need to remind you guys about too is when you're in the analyze mode, you can't touch the patient. So the CPR protocol being that we need to get 30 compressions on, it's imperative that we get at least 30 compressions on before we analyze the patient. And then it's going to give a shock advised or no shock advised. If a shock's advised, it's going to automatically charge, at which point we can continue with 30 compressions on the patient. Once we've completed 30 compressions, we can go ahead and deliver the shock. Okay, now we're coming up to the end cycle of our 2 minutes of CPR. We're still going to get a voice prompt with the A.E.D, even with the metronome off. We're going to demonstrate that right here.
Push analyze.
So again, we have to not touch the patient.
Analyzing now.
We'll analyze.
Stand clear. Shock advised.
So again, a shock's been advised. You see it automatically begins charging.
Stand clear. Push shock button.
Go ahead and push the shock button.
Start CPR.
So in AED mode, you'll notice that you have an automatic countdown timer from 2 minutes. It'll give you a 2-minute cycle of CPR and then prompt you to check the patient again. In the manual mode, you'll have to provide your own timer via watch or a separate timer on the LIFEPAK itself. Now we're going to review manual defib operations. Turn the machine on. When the machine comes on, it's going to automatically default to the paddles feature. When it's appropriate to do so, per your defib protocol, charge the machine. If you have a shockable rhythm and the patient's clear, go ahead and depress the shock button. Just like the LIFEPAK 12s, the 15s will print out a paper tape of the pre-shock rhythm, the shock, and the post-shock rhythm. Earlier I discussed that the LIFEPAK 15 has a CPR metronome. If you'd like assistance with the CPR compressions and the rate, push the CPR button, and the metronome will activate at a rate of 100 compressions per minute. With the metronome, you'll also get a voice prompt for ventilations. And as you can see, it defaults to an adult with no airway, which is 30 and 2 for the protocol.
3, 2, 1. Ventilate. Ventilate.
From the continuous compressions protocol for rock, simply dial down to the adult with an airway using the speed dialer, press it, and it'll select that feature, which is a 10-in-1 protocol. This is also the protocol that you'd use with a secured airway once the medics are on location and secured an airway.
Ventilate.
If you don't want to see the CPR metronome screen, simply depress the CPR button and the metronome and the voice prompts will remain. If you'd like to turn the metronome and the voice prompts off, go back to the CPR button, go down to stop metronome using the speed dialer, depress the button, and the metronome and the voice prompts will stop. Just like the feature with LIFEPAK 12, you come up on the end of your 2 minutes if you charge. And you're going to analyze a rhythm. And the rhythm is a non-shockable rhythm and you'd like to dump the charge, simply depress the speed dial selector and it will disarm the machine. One of the other features I'd like to point out, same with LIFEPAK 12, LIFEPAK 15 does not have a timer in the manual mode. So you'll have to keep track of your 2 minutes of CPR via wristwatch or a stopwatch that will connect to the actual LIFEPAK 15 device. If you're in manual mode and you see a rhythm that you're not sure about and you'd like to analyze an AED, you can simply do that by coming to the Analyze button and depressing the Analyze button.
Analyzing now. Stand clear. Shock advised. Stand clear. Push shock button.
So shock's been advised in the AED mode, go ahead and push the shock button. One of the things you'll notice when you go from the manual mode
Start CPR.
to the AED mode is it'll drop the joules back down to 200. Right now it shows 300 joules because we delivered one shock at 200. So it's going to start over at the AED protocol and work its way up, 200, 300, 360 in AED mode.
1. Ventilate.
Again, just as review,
Ventilate.
in the AED mode, the CPR metronome and the voice prompts are going to come up for ventilation. To get rid of that, just simply push the CPR button. You don't have to use the selector dial stop the metronome. Now I want to talk about a couple of the buttons that we haven't spent a whole lot of time on, some of the features that we're not going to be using on the LIFEPAK 15. I'll start over here on this side. You've got the transmit button just like we do on the LIFEPAK 12. This button is actually for transmitting things such as 12-lead tracings directly to the hospital once the machine's on and we've actively obtained a 12-lead. However, since we don't do 12 leads, we're not going to be transmitting anything to any hospitals. The other button we already talked about earlier was the code summary. If you choose to use that, if you've put an event in, such as administering aspirin, nitroglycerin, oxygen, and you'd like to print that code summary, you have to do that before you actually turn the device off. Otherwise, it'll erase all that data that you've put in there. Coming back over here to the other side, I pointed out earlier we've got the pacer feature. This is a feature that we are not going to use, along with the sync feature. And the alarms button will actually allow us to just go in and turn on an alarm whenever the patient goes into VF or VTAC. Automatically it'll alarm and notify us to check the patient. However, due to our ROC protocol of 2 continuous minutes of CPR and then analyzing the patient, we're not going to use that alarms feature and it's actually turned off. Again, this device, LIFEPAK 15, will be set up exactly like the LIFEPAK 12 as far as our protocol and voice prompts go for A.E.D and manual mode. Okay, now I'd like to talk to you about the wireless transmitting feature of the LIFEPAK 15. This will be the single biggest change between the LIFEPAK 12 and the LIFEPAK 15. As you know, the current way we do business is to come back from a CPR event and contact a CBT instructor or a training officer to come out and download that event off the LIFEPAK 12 onto the local computer. Now with the LIFEPAK 15 and the wireless transmitting feature, any firefighter can come back to the station after a CPR event and wirelessly transmit that CPR event off the LIFEPAK 15 to a remote computer, where it can be accessed later by a training officer and sent to the county. Now I'm going to walk you through the steps to transmit a CPR event wirelessly. Turn the machine on. Select Options. When the Options menu comes up, use the speed dialer to select Archives. Options for archives, interpatient archives, yes. Once we get to the Options Archives menu screen, we want to edit our data first before we send the data. You'll see the patient's edit screen pops up with patient last name, first name. We always just want to select the first one that pops up. That was the last event that was recorded on the machine the last time the machine was turned on. In most instances, this will probably be your CPR event that you've gone on. So if that happens to be the event, and you can double check this over here based off of date and time, and you confirm that your patient, go ahead and select that patient. Once you've selected that patient, go to last name, enter the patient's last name. We'll use John Doe. After you've entered the last name correctly, go ahead and scroll down to End. That'll bring you back to the screen. We'll add patient's first name. We'll use John. Again, go to End. Go down to Patient ID. The patient ID will be the MRF number. Select Patient ID. For the demonstration, we'll just use 5,555. go to end again, and then we'll go to incident number. For us, this will be KF, so we'll select K, F, and then the year. Just the last two of the year, so we'll do 13. And then we need 6 digits following the year. So we'll just type in, say this was event 100 for us. So again, to be sure you have the six digits, you'll have to put zeros in front of your incident number to allow for the full 6 digits following the year. Select end. Then you've got patient age and sex. Select patient. Be sure that we see that. It matches our time. Go ahead and select them again for patient archives, and then we'll hit the home screen button. It'll bring back up our options and archives menu. At this point, we do want to send data. Just push send. Push the button to select send data. Then we'll have to scroll down to patient once we're in the send data screen. We don't want to send all patients. We want to go down and select our patient that we've named, John Doe. So using the speed dialer again, select John Doe. And once it comes up, the report will show all. We want all reports. Site is training. And don't pay any attention to the fact that it says connection is not connected. That's a default of the LIFEPAK. Scroll back up to send. Select that from the speed dialer. And down here you'll say it's attempting to transmit to training. It says it's transmitting to training. Okay, now you'll notice that it stopped at 99% transmitted. That's where the machine is finishing up its last little bit of the transmission. And it'll stay here for a few seconds. And then you'll hear a series of beeps once it's completed its transmission. I'm not sure if you can hear those beeps, those tones that the LIFEPAK just made, but you will be able to hear them once you stand next to the machine and you actually transmit an event yourself. You'll also notice that there's a printout here now that lets us know that our transmission was complete. You'll need to make a copy of this, attach it with your MRF form and your SunPro report, and email that to myself and Captain Johnson in the training division. If your event does not go through for some reason, you do not receive a transmission complete report, or it just hangs on that 99% transmitted, the machine, after probably a series of, or a period of time of a minute or so, will reattempt a transmission. After that second transmission, if the machine hangs up or fails to transmit the event, we'd like you to shut the machine off, turn it back on, and go through the procedures of resending that event. Your patient will be saved in there as you've already saved it under John Doe. So you just have to get to the options, archives, and send data screen at that point and resend John Doe. You won't have to enter all the patient information again. If on this attempt it should fail or you can't get your event to transmit, please contact myself or Captain Johnson in the training division. There are cheat sheets provided at all the fire stations to walk you through all the steps to wirelessly transmit a CPR event from a LIFEPAK 15 to a remote computer. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time in watching this video. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself or Captain Johnson in the training division. Hello, I'm Dave Wolber. I'm a LIFEPAK 15 and no mistake who you are. A couple of things we need to. Now we're going to go over the daily check. Now we're going to review manual defib with the new wireless transmitting feature. Do away with.